this into your hands. All right. The Tuesday, February 6, 2024 meeting of the Eden Prairie City Council is now called to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It's customary that I would read an invitation for our residents to participate in what we call Open Podium. Open Podium is an opportunity for Eden Prairie residents to address the City Council on issues related to Eden Prairie City government prior to each council meeting, which typically occur the first and third Tuesday of each month. These open podiums occur between 6:30 and 6:55 right here in the council chamber. If you wish to speak at Open Podium, please do contact the City Manager's office at 952-949-8412 by noon of the meeting date with your name, your phone number, and subject matter so we can be better prepared for you. Open Podium is not recorded or televised. If you have questions about Open Podium, please do contact the City Manager's office. Prior to jumping right into proclamations and presentations, I just wanted to acknowledge, because they're occupying over half of our audience this evening, Troop 695 is visiting us. There's the camera turned on you if you want to wave to the public. They reside or they meet at Prairie Lutheran. As many people know today, Scouts have evolved into being Scouts, as Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts can join Scouts, as this troop illustrates. And they're here this evening, I believe, to work on a citizen badge, at least some of you. So thank you for being here. And if we get the chance, if this meeting doesn't go too long, we'll come back and meet in a more personalized way with you. So thanks for being here. All right, Mr. Getcho, we have a couple presentations and proclamations this evening.
We do, thank you, Mayor. Separate, but both tied into prop, actually. The first one is related to a partnership between prop, people reaching out to People Food Shelf, and Eden Prairie Liquor. I can't remember exactly how many years this is. I know it's been more than a few, that throughout the month of November, the past several years, our three liquor stores partner with a Prop Food Shelf and invite customers in the stores to donate to the food shelf. It's called a Dollar Drive, and we ask that people contribute $1 each time they visit. So I guess I'll save the suspense for how much was raised this year that we're providing to Prop, because we do have our liquor operations manager, one of our store managers, and our finance manager here to present the check to Prop Executive Director Jennifer Loon. So come on up.
Come forward. Rick, should I go down?
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Hello.
Hi.
Jaime Rubina, the Liquor Operations Manager, and we want to present this check to Prop of $8,121.35 and thank all the customers who came in and contributed to this for, I believe, our fourth annual event. So.
Do you want to, I don't know, but you stay up here if you want to, or do you want to say something first and I'll read the proclamation from here as well? Sure.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, and I would just like to thank the Eden Prairie Liquor Stores and Jaime Urbana, who's been a great partner for Prop for 4 years now, and you've done happy hours for Prop during the month of November, Give to the Max, and this has always been a very generous outpouring of support, and we truly, truly appreciate it. So thank you so much.
Stay right here.
Okay.
So we love our nonprofits here in Eden Prairie, and we could not begin to do the things that we do as a city council and as a city without our food shelf, without Prop Shop, which goes anything outside of food, basically into mattresses and clothing and helping people in need in our city. And then Meals on Wheels and the Eden Prairie Crime Fund, which I can never leave out, of course, because our council member is the chair of that. So we just really have wonderful volunteers from the community. You have how many volunteers that work at Prop? Just a ton.
At least 150 regular.
Yeah, it's incredible. And the money that gets raised. So thank you on behalf of the city for all that Prop does and our rest of our volunteers. So Prop has several fundraisers. Empty Bowls is one of the larger ones, or just one of them?
It's the only one that we sponsor ourselves.
Okay, that's good to know. So I have made a proclamation this evening to honor this one major fundraiser that Prop is involved with, and I'll read it and then present this to you. Jennifer, whereas Prop has provided food, support, and compassion to the residents of Eden Prairie and Chanhassen for over 50 years, and whereas Prop served 1,315 households, this is all in 1 year, I want you to hear that again. Prop served 1,315, I'm assuming unique exclusive households, totaling 4,783 individuals in the year 2023. That's incredible. Whereas Prop is considered an essential organization by the city of Eden Prairie, local residents, the school district, the faith community, civic organizations, and businesses alike. And whereas the annual Empty Bowls event has served as a cherished community get-together to raise funds for Prop since 2010, and whereas the 2024 Empty Bowls event will support Prop's mission to provide service to our neighbors in need. Now, therefore, the City Council of the City of Eden Prairie, Minnesota, does hereby proclaim February 20th, 2024 as Empty Bowls Day in the City of Eden Prairie and urges all citizens to support Prop. And is it at St. Andrew, again, St. Andrews? And do you know hours off the top of your head?
Yes.
They can look it up too, but
Yes, 11 to 1:30
okay.
and 4:30 to 7.
11 to 1:30 lunchtime, and then 4:30 to 7 dinner time. Go and just through your donations support this great event, and it's fun. And the soup's amazing, so it's a meal out. So signed, Ronald A. Case, Mayor of City of Eden Prairie. So yeah, thank you. Oh, I guess we're supposed to. Do you want to say something about that? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members. We are so honored to have this proclamation. And yes, I just wanted to make sure that everyone listening to the council meetings and the audience knows that the entire community, everyone is welcome at Empty Bowls. It is at St. Andrew Lutheran Church. It is a free event, so you may donate a free will offering if you choose, but anyone who would like to come, enjoy a soup meal. It is a gathering of so many supporters from the community, both attendees, but in order to sponsor this event, we tap every restaurant you can think of in town and sources to donate soup. So there's delicious soup from all of your favorite restaurants, bread, and we have wonderful entertainment, both over the lunch and dinner hours. So please stop by. I will mention also, we are doing one new thing this year. We are holding an after party at Fat Pants Brewery that evening from 7:30 to 10. And there is a $10 charge for that event, but for those who maybe don't find soup their thing, come on over to Fat Pants and join us for the after
Who
party.
finds beer their thing?
They
Yes.
may.
Absolutely.
So, all
Thank
right.
you.
So thank you so much.
Call out to Fat Pants too. They're just they've been such an amazing business. Again, we have phenomenal businesses here in Eden Prairie, and over 2,000, 600 or 700 are members of the Eden Prairie Chamber. But Fat Pants has been such a great addition in terms of our community life, and they do things so often like supporting a prop in this way. So call out to Fat Pants as well. All right, council, I believe that's all under proclamation. So approval of the agenda. Council, is there anything that you wish to add to the agenda this evening? All right, seeing none, then is there seeing no one, anyone, would you please like to make the motion to approve the agenda?
Move to approve the agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed. All right. Minutes. Any questions, concerns, edits, either from the workshop minutes held Tuesday, January 16th, or the council meeting held January 16th? If not, would somebody make a motion to approve both of them?
Move to approve the following city council minute, council workshop held Tuesday, January 16, 2024. City council meeting held Tuesday, January 16, 2024.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed. Consent calendar for anyone in the audience and or at home. Our consent calendar are items that we don't need to take individually. It's not that they're not important, it's just they're smaller in scope, and we sometimes clump them together. But council, you are allowed to pull any item off the list if you wish for more discussion. Is there any item that you wish to learn more about? Otherwise, if not, if somebody would make a motion to approve the consent calendar A through G.
I'll move for approval of items A through G on the consent calendar.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed. We have one public hearing this evening, the Preserve Village Chipotle. So, Mr. Getchell, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. I think our audience might be interested in this too. People always have a curiosity about new restaurants in Eden Prairie. So we do already have a Chipotle, but we have a proposal before us tonight for a second Chipotle to be constructed in Eden Prairie at 9605 Anderson Lakes Parkway. This is the property located at the corner of Anderson Lakes and Hennepin Town Road on the east end of town. The applicant is proposing to construct a 2,300 square foot Chipotle on that property. This is a planned unit development that currently exists there. So that would be the action being taken tonight. But there are no additional waivers that are being proposed. The applicant is here to provide a presentation on their new restaurant. The staff and the applicant can answer any questions that the council or anyone would have during the public hearing. And I believe the applicant is here in the audience.
Yes, please come forward, give your name and address, and if you work for a company, what that is.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. My name is Brady Busselman. I am a civil engineer with Sambatech. We are located at 12800 Whitewater Drive, Suite 300 in Minnetonka, 55343. I do have a PowerPoint. There it is. All right. Hopefully this works. As introduced, the site is on the screen here in the southwest quadrant of Anderson Lake Parkway and Highway 169 at the Preserve Village Mall. I have with me tonight the owner, Ben Schultes with Jerry's Enterprises. This site is anchored by Jerry's Foods. I also have Kendrick Booth with Wilkes Architects. He's the building designer. So this proposed infill development is in an underutilized corner of the parking lot at the mall in the northeast corner. You can see it there. If I can get on to the next slide. Yes. Here's an overlay of the site plan over an aerial showing the existing conditions. And this is a good slide to do an overview of probably the most important aspect of this. So when Jerry's and Chipotle first started talking about this site, Jerry's, the owner, came to us and asked us to engage a sub-consultant in completing a parking study. Obviously, as a longtime owner of this and leasing to multiple companies, their primary concern is ensuring that there's sufficient parking to accommodate this new development. So that was completed in December of 2022, which is a really fortuitous time. If we're doing parking studies, we can do them any time of year, but doing them during the holidays when a lot of people are out shopping is the best time to get an idea of that peak usage. So what that study determined at the peak day was December 20th. About 52% of the stalls were used, around 195 stalls. During other days, the average was around 40% of the stalls being used. So next step in that analysis is to determine what the impact is of these underutilized stalls, but we were counting those in the percentage. So how many of those will we lose, which is 54 stalls. we're adding back in 16 new stalls to serve Chipotle for a net reduction of 38 stalls. So then on top of that, you add the additional demand of the Chipotle restaurant into the calculation. And the number that was determined for future demand was 68% utilized peak hour, 32% surplus. So the benchmark industry standard is 15% surplus as a minimum. That gives you, as a customer, the impression that there are stalls available. If there's one available, you're not going to find it. 15% will do that for you. So that was an acceptable number for Jerry's and Chipotle to move forward with this project. An additional item to note here, speaking of underutilized stalls, so there are a number of stalls behind the building, 55 by my count, that are rarely used. And Jerry's has indicated that if there is a problem, they would ask, or not ask, but require their tenants to have their employees park behind the building to free up stalls for customers in the front.
There's 55 behind the building,
55.
and none are being used today, to your knowledge?
There are, you can kind of see it in the area also. Behind in the southwest corner behind Jerry's Foods, you'll see quite a few that are open. So I wouldn't say none, but there are that many available. It depends on day to day, but a lot of available stalls too that most people don't want to park in. The next slide is engineering site plan. Not a lot to discuss on this. You'll see, though, that we are proposing another concrete pedestrian path from the new building to the mall. So this will mirror what was done with the Starbucks project a few years back to provide traffic and pedestrians a clear delineation for a safe route to walk between the buildings or from cars. You'll also notice that there are two, what I'll call drive-through lanes. They're actually Chipotle lanes. I'll get into that in more detail later in the presentation. The building is oriented with the main entrance south in the southwest corner of the building. Primary parking is south of the building, but again, there are stalls to the west here that will be shared. Jerry's owns the entire center, so there's no requirement for an agreement for shared parking. Grading plan, as an engineer, I could spend a lot of time on this. I'll try not to. Water drains from the mall at the high point to a low point near the southeast corner of the Chipotle site. That'll continue in the future. We've submitted and received approval from Riley Purgatory Bluff Creek Watershed District with a few, I'll call them procedural conditions. That was done at their board meeting in December, I believe December 13th of last year. You'll see a saw cut line. Those are the thick dashed lines veering off into Hennepin Town Road. I don't want to push the wrong button here. That's the water main connection. So there's a water main in Hennepin Town Road that will serve the building. And then there is a nearby existing sanitary sewer manhole just to the west of the building toward the parking lot where we'll connect there. So well served by utilities. Landscape plan, maybe the biggest thing to note here is the lack of trees kind of in a triangle. If you look from, say you're exiting in your car from the main drive to the south of the Chipotle, and you're looking over your shoulder to the northwest to look for traffic. So there's an intentional view corridor that was left without high planting so that the view triangle was preserved for traffic and safety considerations. Otherwise, with the landscaping plan, the intent was to mimic and continue the theme of the center overall and have a pretty continuous feeling from a planting standpoint. As I mentioned, I have the architect here. I'll try to be brief on the building and leave it for questions for him. The building is facing inward where the main customer experience is going to be. The glass is primarily on the south and west side. Also worth noting, the preference in the initial submittal is for their Chipotle's typical brand colors, which are more grayscale. Based on staff feedback, they did agree to change to a more earth tone feel to match the rest of the development here. Floor plan, if you've been into Chipotle, you've probably noticed, but a lot of it is back of house. You can see that here. There are 35 seats proposed for in-restaurant dining and additional seats outside for seasonal patio dining. Now, Chipotle, as I mentioned, I was going to talk about a little bit. So this isn't a traditional drive-through. There's no order board, there's no speaker. You can only order online, either through their app or I believe through a website. With that order, you select a 15-minute window to pick up your order. The system will cap it at 10 per 15-minute increment, so a maximum of 40 orders, in 1 hour. There are a lot of stats on here. I won't read them all. The one that stands out to me is, according to their studies, the average service time at a Chipotle lane is 2 minutes and 33 seconds. They contrast that with a nationwide average for fast food drive-throughs of over double that. I think it's 6 minutes and 13 seconds. So it's significantly faster because of that reserve time and the preparation that goes into it. Typically, on average, there are 2 cars queued up. 98% of the time, there are 4 or fewer cars queued up because of that fast turnaround. I think by their stats, 15 minutes a day, there may be more than 4 cars. The lane that we have designed here can accommodate 6 cars in the queue before it will start backing into any parking area, much less into any drive lane in the main shopping center. There's also a bailout lane. You can see it on the next slide, and you saw it on the site plan. That lane will be open, anticipated to be open at all times. So if someone needs to get out of their queue, they can go around, or if someone's trying to leave that parking lot south of the building and goes the wrong way, they don't have to navigate a way to turn around. They can get out that way. A couple final things on this slide. You don't have to, if you use the Chipotle lane pickup, you don't have to sit in your car and wait. You can pull into the burrito loading zone, go in and get your order that way. There are also 2 pull-ahead parking stalls, so if someone gets to the window early, their order is not ready, staff can direct them to go wait in those stalls, so it's not creating a backup of other people queuing up behind them. And with that, I will stand for questions. As always, Eden Prairie staff has been great to work with, professional and thorough. If they can answer any questions, I'm happy to help, as my teammates will as well.
Before we get into the questions, Councilmember Freiberg had spoken with me before the meeting, and I'm going to let you make a statement and go ahead and then sit out this one if that's what you choose to do.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want it to be known that I'm a longtime employee of Jerry's Enterprises, and to avoid any appearance, conflict of interest as such, I'm going to excuse myself from any discussion, from any vote. I'm going to go out and I'm going to sit out in the audience, something I've done quite a bit in the past. And I'll rejoin the council after the vote is taken at that point.
Great, thank you. And then he and I did have a conversation. Technically, according to the cleanest legal standards, he would be fine to sit here, but we on the council are very cognizant of perception, and I respect Councilmember Freiberg tremendously. I do the same thing anytime a United Health Group issue comes up, even though I'm a very lowly employee in that organization, and my influence would be incredibly diluted. Nonetheless, for the sake of perception, I always recuse myself, as Councilmember Freiberg is doing as well. So thank you very much. Are you laughing at my lowly? No. Okay. So, all right, Council. We can do this several different ways. If you have questions right now that you think are most appropriate to the proponent and/or staff at the moment, we can ask them, and then we can hold the public hearing. We can hold the public hearing and close it, and you can still ask your questions, or you can do both. What's your pleasure? Do you have questions at the moment you would like answered?
I've got a quick one.
Go ahead, Councilmember Nelson.
Just asking about the plants that you were planting. Are they flowering? Are they flowering all summer? We often ask that, and lots of times you already have it planned because staff has talked to you about it. But since there wasn't a picture of it, I'd like to know what your plans are.
Yeah, that's a great question. I do have a landscape architect on staff. He's on vacation in Puerto Rico right now. He generally tries to do 4 seasons of interest, so there will be flowering at different seasons. I know I said mimicking what's out there today, and of course you're not out there checking every season, but if you have an idea of what you've seen out there, that's what you'll likely see again.
Okay, so it's things that will be blooming through the 3 seasons that it could possibly bloom, in something or other that stays green through the rest of it.
I think
it's sort of important because we're trying to almost all buildings in Eden Prairie do that by themselves now, so just checking. That's fine.
Anything else before we move into the public hearing? Thank you. Okay, people in the audience, this is a public hearing. Is there anyone wishing to address the council this evening on this issue tonight? Please come forward, give your name and address. All right, don't see anyone itching to jump up. So council, I feel like we should at least give some opportunity to discuss. So how about if one of you moved to close the public hearing, just that piece of the motion?
I'll move to close the public hearing.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, let's have a conversation, then we can call the proponent back up if you have a question or direct it to staff.
I just have a couple.
Councilmember Toomey.
I just have a couple thoughts. When I first saw this, I thought it might be too crowded in that parking lot since there's already a Starbucks there. However, after reading, the packet and looking at the traffic study, I trust the traffic study, and also it makes a big difference that Chipotle and Starbucks have different peak hours of operation. So I don't have a problem with it.
Council, other questions or comments? I do have one, and I'm not sure if it's Julie or Robert. So obviously, the big concern, as Lisa pointed out, is just the number. Do we have enough parking spaces? And the proponent did talk about peak day, December 20th. I did wonder if that was an average across the day, and did that mean, therefore, that I'm making this up, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it was horrible. People couldn't find a spot, but at 9 a.m. in the morning you could, and 9 p.m. at night. So I just had a little bit of a question on that. But the bigger question really for Julie and Robert is, I don't go there enough. I mean, in the 80s, I was over there all the time, but I haven't been there enough recently to this whole Jerry's Supermarket hardware store development parking lot that to know if the spacing between, like, if you have parking, and so whatever you call the thoroughfare in between is that standard width? Because I've heard some concerns that it might feel smaller, especially if you have a big suburban truck. And now if we're removing spots and people are trying to turn a big vehicle in, is that an issue or a concern to anyone at all? And then just the general flow as cars today exit out onto Hennepin Town Road, basically going to the north side of Starbucks. A lot of people say it's busy now because that turn, the sight lines are encumbered a little bit. So this is going to be worse, right? We're going to potentially, well, I don't know if we double because people were going out there from the parking lot anyway, but it may be exacerbated by the presence of Chipotle. So if you both tell me tonight, nope, we've looked at it, our traffic study we've looked at, we believe the flow of the parking lot can stay consistent, it's under parked right now, I just need to hear from both of you that this concern that I've picked up a little bit has an answer.
Mayor Kay, City Council. I'll start with the traffic analysis that was done with this, and just taking a look at some of the level of service or volume to capacity ratios that were evaluated for the 2025 build that would also build in some additional background traffic increase that we'd expect to see over the next couple of years. When you look at Hennepin Town Road and Anderson Lakes Parkway intersection, that will operate at a level of service C with a 0.83 volume to capacity ratio, which is very favorable. And then when you take a look at Hennepin Town Road, south of Preserve Village and Anderson Lakes Parkway, just those roads, 2 roads in general, again, the volume to capacity ratio is actually very good in the B to A range, 0.7 and 0.39. So we see a lot of additional capacity on those roadways. When you take a look at the intersection, we call it the central driveway that most of the traffic serving the Chipotle would utilize at this intersection. When you look at the AM peak, the midday peak, and the PM peak, we are seeing a level of service A for that intersection under all conditions, either build or existing. So we're really not seeing much of an impact on the capacity or the functionality of that
And
driveway.
I'm
So-
assuming our staff have been out there in terms of any of the sightline concerns. I mean, I'm just looking at right here, and I don't know. I mean, it looks like the building will be set back far enough that it's not going to encumber any more than is there now. Would you say that's accurate?
Yes, that's correct. There is a tree that will be removed with this project that may pose somewhat of a sightline obstruction, and because that's being removed, it should help. And there's some minor grading that may improve sightline visibility, but when you take a look at what the design ideal sightline is for this intersection, knowing that you've got a 25-mile-per-hour curve, we're able to meet the desired sightlines. Even though the road is posted 45, you really can't drive that curve at 45 miles an hour. So with the speed that you actually see drivers utilizing, we do meet that minimum threshold for sightlines.
And there's no gain in like posting the curve, which you see around the nation. They post curves sometimes at lower speeds, but then people don't maybe drive. I mean, there's no gain to post that at 30 or something like.
Well, we will be actually, so northbound traffic has a posted 10-mile-per-hour advisory speed limit sign that's up today. It's always been there. Southbound, we haven't posted one, but we are planning to post a 25-mile-per-hour
Good.
for
Okay.
southbound. So whether or not that really helps alert drivers, maybe if somebody is not accustomed to the area, they might see that and slow down. But if somebody
Got
that
it.
drives this on a routine basis, they're going to drive what they feel comfortable. But we will be posting at 25-mile-per-hour
How about the internal parts? Is that Julie or you? The movement around and whether they're normal spacing and et cetera.
So I can speak to, I'll start speaking to the parking study. So the parking study that was done over roughly a 2-week period. It included weekday and weekend time so that it provided a broad range of information. During that parking study, it was found that only about 40 to 50% of the parking stalls were being utilized at any one time. So taking into account the parking stalls that will be lost in order to build the new Chipotle and the new parking needs from the additional customers coming out to that restaurant, it's expected through the parking study that there will be a roughly 32% surplus of parking stalls on site. As Brady mentioned in his presentation, the industry standard that you're looking to meet is 15%. And so at roughly 32%, they're going to far exceed that expectation.
And how about the spatial distance between the parked lanes and that thoroughfare? You know, are they code? Are they regular? Do they feel smaller to people when they're over there versus if they're at the mall?
I can tell you that the city code requirements for the drive lanes are being met. There are no waivers that have been granted or are being asked for as a part of this project.
Okay. That answers it. All right, council, any other questions? Generally, at least I've received real positive comments from people living in the area that I don't know if I would describe it necessarily as a food desert, but it certainly is. There's not a lot in Eden Prairie that's a restaurant in that area. I think Jerry's has something inside their grocery store, but
Yeah, you do have to go across to Bloomington.
right,
Or else you have to head up for the mall, but that might not be.
right.
It's probably going to be a good deal for kids to want to go get something after they go to whatever event they were.
Sure.
So, and I will admit, we lived over that side of town for years, and it was always very quiet. You know, even when they had some shops that were fairly popular, you know, for a while when they were new. People were doing business and reasonable, but it was easy to find a parking spot wherever you wanted it.
Okay. If there are no other questions or comments, is there someone that would complete the rest of the motion then?
I will adopt a resolution for a plan unit development concept review on 9.08 acres and approve the first reading of an ordinance for planned unit development district review on 9.08 acres and direct staff to prepare a development agreement incorporating staff recommendations and council conditions.
Is there a second? Second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed. All right. Passes 4-0. Welcome. Exciting. Thank you. Councilmember Freiberg, if you'd rejoin us here. Payment of claims, which for anyone in the audience, it's kind of like our lists of checks in the old days. Payments that the city, hundreds and hundreds of payments that we pay out, and we approve them at the end of each 2-week period or so. So, council, any questions of any payments that you want to find out more about? If not, is there a motion to move approval of the payment of claims?
Move to approve the payment of claim as submitted.
Is there a second?
Second.
And we do a roll call vote for people in the audience because this is such an important item that each one of us have to weigh in. We approve the spending of taxpayer money in this way. So roll call.
Councilmember Freiberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Narayan,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
Councilmember Toomey,
Aye.
Mayor Case.
Aye. All right. Is there anything else, Mr. Getchell, council members, to come before the council this evening?
There is not, Mayor.
I feel like we're giving the Boy Scouts, kind of ripping them off from a really lengthy, long meeting. Should we, we could go back through the meeting again? Probably not. All right, with that, is there a motion to adjourn the city council meeting this evening?
I move to adjourn the city council meeting tonight.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, this meeting is adjourned.